In the past 2 years, Bitcoin has been hyped up, and there is another unfamiliar term, blockchain. Recently, it has been mentioned more and more by people. The first point to be explained is that the blockchain is equivalent to Bitcoin, and the blockchain is the technical basis behind Bitcoin. I believe you have also noticed that the presence of cash in our lives getting lower and lower. They have become numbers for online payment, and everyone is convinced that these numbers really present wealth. This fully shows that in the transaction system, as long as there is a reliable account book, the account can be understood even if there is no physical banknote. The entire transaction system will not be messy. The blockchain is a way of bookkeeping that is different from traditional bookkeeping. Although on the surface, traditional online payment is only a direct transaction between the two parties. But in fact, behind every transaction is a third-party transaction intermediary. This intermediary is often a trusted authority, such as the government, banks, or some large companies. This intermediary is also a transaction center, responsible for recording every transaction information in the system and organizing this information into a huge ledger. But once this center is attacked by hackers and the ledger is maliciously calculated, the entire system may fall into crisis. However, there is no such traditional trading center in the transaction system that uses blockchain to keep account, and there's no risk of collapse of the entire system from the center. In the blockchain system, every transaction occurs directly between the two parties to the transaction. Both the parties of the transaction will broadcast the transaction information to the entire transaction system, and then there will be many volunteers who will record the transaction information and organize it into a ledger with clear account, and then broadcast this ledger back to the system. The result of this is that the ledger in the blockchain system is not managed by a single transaction center, but by every participant in the system at the same time. Unless hackers can attack all participants in the world at the same time, this ledger will not disappear. But there is a problem in this way. How can we ensure that there will be no various ledgers in the system where many volunteers keep account at the same time? This depends on some clever designs based on cryptography in the blockchain. In the blockchain system, a new block is generated every time a period of time passes to store the transaction information just produced. Volunteers must solve a cryptography puzzle in order to make this block complete and effective. The first volunteers to solve the problem will record the answer at the end of this block and broadcast the complete block to the whole system. After other volunteers receive this message and learn that the problem has been solved, it will stop the work at hand and go to solve the next block problem. It is worth mentioning that the answers to the puzzles in each block will be placed at the beginning of the next block and become part of the problem stem in the next block. In this way, these puzzles are like idiom solitaire, stringing each block into a chain, which is the blockchain. If someone wants to calculate the content of one of the blocks, he not only needs to resolve the new problem in this block, but also solve all the problem on the chain afterwards. This is equivalent to fighting all the other people in the system with one's own power and complete the doubled workload in the same time. When there are many people involved in the system, this kind of operation can be said to be impossible. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto used the Bitcoin model to break the blockchain technology out of the shell. But the use of blockchain is not limited to digital tokens. As a data management system that is still safe and reliable without the participation of a strong intermediary, blockchain technology may help solve problems in many fields such as finance, property rights, public welfare, and the Internet of Things, and bring earth-shaking changes to the entire society.